You are listening to the B.I.G show with your hosts, Calvin and Garland. The B.I.G show is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Here are your hosts, Calvin and Garland.
It is the big show.
We back.
And we are back. We're back. Listen, we try to stay consistent, but shit happens, man. Y'all know sometimes. It's whatever, man.
I'm gonna put y'all in on a little secret. Y'all ain't about to hear us for 2 weeks anyway, because I'm going to go on vacation. And so this a little bite for you for July. You know it's dead season. So we be making stuff up.
Yeah, there ain't a lot going on. We don't even have a lot going on today, so this might be the shortest show ever. You never know. So
we get on a roll. We don't always agree. We can talk. We're gonna talk on some stuff. We're gonna give the people their money's worth. We here.
I am Calvin. That guy over there is Garland, and as you can see, shout out to the 22-run Orioles last night. Most runs since 2000, I think it was, after being down 6-0. They was just like, they was literally like, hold my bed. They were down 6-0 in the second inning. Garland texted us.
I got a story to tell y'all.
Done. The Orioles said, hold my beer. And they just came. Actually, I don't even know why they holding beer, because they still charge it. They not giving a discount for alcohol. So I'm not touching none of they fucking beer.
Y'all, I came in the house last night, tried to find a game. It was on Apple TV, so I had to find different means on my stick users and all. Y'all know all my users. Calvin ain't saying all my stick users. So
that's Orioles now. I'm not paying extra for Madison.
Yeah, and so came in. They were losing. I think God just hit the 3-run home run, so they were down 6-0 in the second inning. I just fire off. I'm all in my emotions. I'm all in my feels. I just jump on the group chat, on the crew chat. The Orioles stink. They're done. This season, I just go in. Of course, come on, man. You gotta keep the faith. They're still my team. And then this brother right here, the homer. He's a homer. I'm a homer. I'm a bleeding heart. I think Cal was a bigger bleeding heart than I am. And so this homer, they're going to walk him down. They're going to walk him down.
I sent the meme of walking them down.
He sent some meme out. And so every time the Orioles score, he sends an update in the chat. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, Lord, I'm going to have to deal with this all night. And so, they come back. They walk them down. And I'm just like, oh, God, I got to, because I'm already angry sports guy. And so I got to live this down. I know I'm going to have to live this down the next time we're at the game. Garland always jumping in the chat, angry. I'm sorry. I'm playing my role. I'm the angry sports guy.
Hey man, just like they said in New Jack City, don't leave before the miracle happens. It was only the second inning. Garland was back. By the third inning, the score was 6-4. I was just like, yo, here we come. Like, we're gonna win this game.
So what am I, Pookie?
when it come to Oreo sports right now, you are, because every time they do something wrong, Garland be like, man, fuck this shit. Fuck off. Fuck, you want some of this? Get the fuck off.
Right. She said I used to be the prom queen. She said, now you ain't nothing but the prom fiend.
Yo. Oh, by the way, you can see we're live on YouTube right now. You can catch us on all the podcast platforms. And if you have Spotify, when we drop the podcast, you can see me and emotional Carl Thomas over there. You can see our beautiful faces.
Emotional. Yeah, man. I just went off. I'm like, oh God, a Friday night. Maybe I don't. At 58, that's what happens to your life, y'all. You got something to look forward to, you young listeners. And this to be bitter old angry sports guy yelling at the sky. And so, and also, man, we made it through the heat wave. I don't know. We've been living in the seventh circle of hell on the East Coast for the last several days. You know, on Sunday, started on Sunday, 100 and well, actually Saturday. I went to an outside wedding on
Oof.
Saturday down at the 1820 mansion. Shout out to Brecklin and Billy. Beautiful wedding. The wedding was at that facility is down near Little Italy. And it was outside seating for the wedding ceremony. But then, of course, we went inside for the reception and all. And they had the open bar and, you know, the catered meal. It was a great time. They had a great DJ and all. And so we had a great day there. But yeah, it started Saturday, man. And I think it was highs of like 110 a couple of them days in the middle of the week. You know, when it's that, your AC just says, you know, forget me. I'm a run. I'm gonna try to do the best I can, but don't be expecting it to be super chilly in your house.
Hey man, I was at a retirement party for my ex CEO, and it
Mhm.
was inside, and the AC was like, "Listen, nigga, we're gonna do the best we can
Right.
do." Well, I was in there. I had to wipe off like every 5 minutes, and it was like, God, I
Yeah.
mean, I just
Yeah.
and I wasn't doing that much moving. I
Right.
was trying to stay still. I was getting hydrated, and it was just so hot outside. I didn't sweat that much on the walk over to the building.
Right.
Man, it was just, whew,
It's
it was
crazy. As a
terrible.
matter of fact, we went to the game what Tuesday or
We
Wednesday?
went to, yeah, we went. I thought it was Monday. We went Monday.
No,
We were
Monday.
there Monday. We
We
were there
were at
Monday.
the game Monday, and I was saying to Calvin as we were leaving the game. The game was fast. The Orioles won 6-0, and the game was roughly about 2 hours, if that much. The
It was
game
over
ended
by
at
eight forty five. Yeah.
about 8:45. As we were walking, I said to Calvin, I said, when it's hot, everybody walks slow. It was like everybody was walking in slow motion back to the parking garage, to the bus or whatever. And so we made it. We still here. And so hopefully we have a nice couple days, man. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's go ahead and start off with the most obvious thing. We're going to talk about is this NFL collusion piece. And so in 2020, the NFL owners were not happy, Calvin. Deshaun Watson had forced a trade from the Houston Texans to the Cleveland Browns. And as part of the trade, the Browns agreed to give Watson a 5-year, fully guaranteed contract worth $230 million. The league had been able to function without giving many, if any, guaranteed contracts with three quarterbacks up for new deals. Lil Man, Kyler Murray, Russ Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. Lamar. There was concern that Watson's contract would become the standard. A bombshell report revealing possible collusion between the NFL and the NFLPA was made public on Tuesday thanks to an investigation spearheaded by Meadowlark Media's Pablo Torre and Pro Football Talks Mike Florio. Now, Florio is suggesting that the NFL players have recourse against both the league and the union, not only for the three quarterbacks mentioned, but other players that were entering the free agency cycle as well. Now, what happened was how this all came about was in 2022, the players filed a suit against the owners. They claimed that after Watson's fully guaranteed contract, that the teams had colluded to avoid offering similar deals to Russ, Lil Man, and Lamar. And so, what the arbitrator found out was through text messages and internal documents, they found that the owners have been suggesting encouragement in the league for reduced guarantees. And so they found, there's various messages between the owners about contracts, patting each other on the back for the contracts that they were given in the hopes of controlling the need for guarantee contracts. As a matter of fact, they believe that there was a PowerPoint presentation given to the owners where the league was pretty much instructing owners about this is what you need to do to try to control the guarantee contract breakout. And so one of the things it revealed, Calvin, was the most glaring impact of the collusion was on Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar, he's coming a year removed from being MVP. He had texted the Ravens, Eric DeCosta, who's the general manager, EDC, informing him that he would only sign for a fully guaranteed contract. And so the Ravens, they made several offers, which Lamar declined. And it was funny. Lamar said even during the negotiations, his phone broke down. The speaker on his phone wasn't working, so he couldn't hear some of the off. You know how you get with sometimes people we call you be like, "Hello, hello, hello. I can't hear. I can't hear. You. What you? Oh man, I'll call you back." The call dropped, and so Lamar was playing games on the phone as well as the Ravens, and so eventually the team placed the franchise tag on Lamar, and Lamar asked for a trade after that. But Calvin, only 2 teams out of the 32 teams in the league contacted the Ravens for a possible deal for Lamar. And pretty much the Ravens had believed that Lamar was going to be gone. They were going to go ahead and trade him, and they were preparing for the draft. And the day before the draft, Lamar reached out, and the Ravens and Lamar were able to work out a deal. And so, just from listening to Pablo's podcast and reading some things, man, what are some of your initial thoughts about this whole collusion piece? And it reminds me, we did have a conversation about this when it happened. I was almost right. I said Lamar was gone, and pretty much from the reporting, it pretty much the Ravens were like, we're going to move on. And so your boy was right, but then Lamar and then work it out. Thank goodness. But go ahead.
Well, before I jump into that, let's get to what you actually said, because I always love when we bring this up. And I quote, Lamar gambled on himself and he lost. You lost, Lamar.
Why I sound more country and countryer every time this comes up?
Because I try to sound like LeVar Ball. I be trying to sound like the ball daddy. You lost.
Oh God.
Hey man, so everybody called collusion. When you actually go back and think about it, when you talk about the collusion when it came to Colin Kaepernick, when it comes to Lamar Jackson's contract, when it comes to anything where we're talking about somehow the league is colluding or blackballing against certain players, if you ever noticed, maybe the general manager, maybe the head coaches, but the owners will never say that they're not collusion. They're not colluding. Maybe Jerry Jones, he'll jump out and run his mouth, but they'll always stay quiet because they are. They are doing it. And it's obvious. It's so obvious for everybody. Another thing that I take from that is if you actually listen to the Pablo Torre podcast, when they're talking about how they acquired the NFLPA, the head of the NFLPA. One of the things that we find the players lack in is great leadership that actually represents them. The NFLPA, and I don't recall the names. You literally have to go in there and listen to the names of how they do it and how they get the head. But this go round after
Trenner and these other
people. So JC Trenner, because he got cut by the Cleveland Browns, he could no longer serve. So what did he do? They started a search committee for a new top executive for the NFLPA, but apparently no one knew about it. They said it was an open advertisement or open invitation, but no one knew about it except the people that were invited. The guy that eventually got it comes from a sketchy background in government, and he's a friend of JC Trotter, or JC. I keep saying Trotter. Trotter is JC Trenner. And what happened was they were trying to hire. They hired another position. They created another position like a consultant. And guess who got that position?
His boy.
His boy got the position, almost like a Donald Trump quid pro quo kind of thing. Definitely. One hand wipes the other hand. But I say that because whenever the players negotiate, they never seem to get the proper deal, and they're always locked in. So this last deal that they made, where they jumped up to 17 games, where the players were trying to get more of a guarantee, they were trying to lessen the games and lessen the impact. It's a 10-year deal. They signed a 10-year deal with the NFL that doesn't really benefit them. It benefits the NFL owners. So their leadership is lacking, which means that they can't do anything about collusion. They have no recourse to come back and say and sue the NFL The owners stay quiet. The owners stay mum. You see somebody like Arthur Blankenship with the Atlanta Falcons give all the excuses why he's not going to go after Lamar Jackson when the fans want Lamar Jackson. His Atlanta fans want him. Lamar Jackson would have turned around their franchise. But hey, as far as Baltimore goes, we're happy that you didn't get him because he became got another MVP, and we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. But that's a whole nother thing. The people that really hold the water for the owners that talk about there's no collusion seem to be these fans that somehow think these owners care about them.
Right.
When it came to the Colin Kaepernick thing that we were talking about, how they colluded against him. Oh, Colin Kaepernick was this, was that, was this. And I just don't understand how normal, everyday people can look at these billionaires and see what they're doing to these players and think that they're not doing it. It's literally right there. So when a report like this comes out now, everybody's real quiet. You get it on different podcasts, you might read it, but is it really front page news? ESPN will talk about it for a day or two, but this is something that really should be blowing up. Like this should be national news. Like this is something that you would think the president would talk about. Well, not this president, unless
That
I
clown.
brokered a great deal. It's the best deal ever for the NFL.
Right.
So
That clown. I think Calvin, it one. Let's start with the Ravens first. I feel that it was obvious that the Ravens, of course, yes, they were colluding. We've established that, but I think the Ravens knew that they could get Lamar back, and I think it just really fell down to taking care of the best player. It's amazing because the Ravens are the only team that really believed in Lamar, and I think it just showed that. Not only do I think it was collusion that kept these other 30 teams from not contacting him, but I also think it was that these other 30 teams really still don't believe that he was a great quarterback, that he was worth the chance. If you want to win, you're going to go ahead out there and step on out there and do it. I don't care about collusion or not. If I want to win and the best player is available in the market, my other owners are just going to have to get mad. And obviously, you were able to do something that was not guaranteed because the Ravens did something that was not guaranteed. So there's a possibility you could do it. And so to me, I think it was a combination of not only collusion, but I think a lot of other teams still did not value Lamar as a top quarterback in the league. And so that kept a lot of them away. You talk about Atlanta, they talked about the injury concerns and all these other things, but they had Desmond Ridder as a quarterback. So they chose Desmond Ridder over Lamar Jackson. That's crazy. And it's obvious that Lamar knew, hey, man, this is the place where I can win. And, he reached out and made that contact, and they went ahead and met where they needed to meet. And so that was great to see that the Ravens and then were able to work through those issues and still keep Lamar because they really know the value of Lamar. I think in terms of the league, I agree with you. I think because the league's reach is so big and their media impact is so big, that's why you have not seen the ESPNs or pretty much ESPN is really the only sports network that has jumped out and talked about this, because they're NFL partner. Have not seen ABC or CBS or NBC jump out and talk about this because they're media partners. And so, yeah, I was looking for more of an explosion about this, more talk about this, because this really, it means a lot that, these owners, these billionaires, they contrive to pretty much restrict the salaries of a league that's over 70% Black. And so the impact and the building of generational wealth that they have tried to retard in the process of trying to win and to be champions is pretty much major. I mean, I agree with Florio. I think there is an opportunity for a player to step out and sue not only the league, but to sue the Players Association, who has, pretty much operated in partnership, going all the way back to not Art Shell. Was Art Shell? No, it was not Art Shell. It was the other Raider.
Gene Upshaw.
Yeah, Gene Upshaw. There's always pretty much work hand in hand with the league. And so I think there's something that will a player jump out and do it? Mm, I don't know
Well,
who that would be. I mean, because you got they were talking about the quarterback for the Chargers.
mhm.
Possibly he could step out because I think he's coming up for a big contract. And so, maybe Lamar. Lamar doesn't have an agent. Maybe he goes out and steps out there. Maybe it's Lil Man. Maybe it's Russ. I don't know.
I think so. I don't think it would be Lamar. From what we understand, the Ravens because Lamar is no longer in the top 5 of highest paid NFL quarterbacks. That
Mm-hmm,
quickly, Lamar anchored, really ushered the deal for all the other quarterbacks. But
mm-hmm.
I also think Lamar is working on a record breaking deal with
Yeah.
the
So he's
Ravens right now. So I don't think he will. But so I think the beginnings are starting to be the foundation for this is starting to be laid. If you look at the Cincinnati rookie that was just drafted, how he's not signing this contract because he's like, I don't like these incentives or these things that you have in the contract, and I'm not signing it.
right.
And so he is actually in a position to sue the league and the players union because he's not part of the players union. You can't be a part of the players union until you actually sign a contract. So he's still independent. Now he may just, they may eventually work it out, but you're starting to see the groundwork, and not just in in football, but in basketball also. You're starting to see the groundwork where these players are starting to try to take control of their
Mhm.
own destiny. I mean, we've had it with like Steve Francis and the Mannings and all, but
Right.
the young boy that wanted to go to DC or Charlotte, I think it was,
Ace
or he didn't
Bailey.
want to. So,
He
yeah,
went. Yeah, he wanted to go to DC.
he didn't jump on the plane to go to Utah.
Right.
Utah knew he didn't want to play there and drafted him anyway. So it probably won't amount to anything, but you can see these players starting to say, "Hey, I'm not property any longer." You know what I mean? Like I am an employee, but I'm not property. I'm not your slave. And NIL money is also changing that. I think one of the things that Ace did mention was that, hey, I got NIL money, so I don't necessarily need this right now. Is it the best decision? Well, that remains to be seen. But I'm all for these players standing up for themselves
Sure.
in the face of something that they feel just isn't right. I'm all for that.
All right. Straight from the Shut the F Up file, Deontay Johnson admits that he quit on the Ravens. Now, former Ravens wide receiver Deontay Johnson broke his silence regarding his refusal to enter last season's Week 13 game against the Philadelphia Eagles that led to his release less than 2 months after Baltimore traded for him. It was cold, Johnson, a Florida native, said on the Sports and Suits podcast. So I'm on the sideline. I'm just standing there, just going to the heater, back and forth, just waiting to hear my name called. So end of the third, going into the fourth over there, they're like, Tay, we need you. I'm like, nah. To me, I'm thinking, I don't think it's good for me. It's a good idea for me because I was thinking about like my legs. I don't want to go out there and put bad stuff on film. And it's like I didn't want to go into the game, but you got to think like leading up to this point, I've been through so much. I checked out mentally. I was like, whatever happens, happens. I was just rolling with the punches at that time. So I told them I wasn't going in. I was like, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to go in. So I just sat on the bench, and that's when they suspended me. Now, perhaps Cleveland, which also tends to get cold in December, Calvin, will be better for Johnson, who signed a 1-year deal with the Browns this offseason for the reported veteran minimum of $1.17 million. Will Johnson, you think he's going to make that team? And is that the dumbest confession ever?
Yeah, he literally could have said nothing because it doesn't make him look good. Now, I literally just talked about players standing up for themselves. There's also a case of might be a little delusional here, sir. I don't understand. Well, let me back up. So anytime a player has gone to the Ravens organization, they've always seen a different culture. Well, not always. They've usually seen a different culture than where they've come from. And
We can
Quan
say
Bolton
always. I mean, Anquan Bolden was just
he
talking
talked
about it.
about
You
it.
heard other
Steve
players that come
Smith
to
has
here that
talked
said that
about
they
it.
loved it.
Yeah,
It's a
the,
different culture.
the culture is different. And it's also a culture where the Ravens are a next man up organization. And we've seen it throughout time. Like when players go down, the fans sob and him and haw, but the coaches are like next man up. You rarely hear the Ravens get in the media like, yeah, this is going to be an adjustment, this and that. The Ravens would be like, hey, the next guy's been ready. We'll see what happens. I don't know if Deontay Johnson was ready for that. And I don't know much about the Pittsburgh culture, but I know in Pittsburgh, the wide receivers have always just ran rampant around there. Like
Right.
they did anything they wanted to do until Tomlin got tired of it and then shipped him out. And that's what happened to Deontay Johnson. In Carolina, I don't think he got any play. I think he may have been excited. Let me back up. He got play in Carolina. He wasn't the person that he thought he would be. Right. But coming to Baltimore, I think he was excited to play with Lamar Jackson and thought that he was just going to jump on the field and become the number one receiver. No, sir. It doesn't work that way in Baltimore. You got to wait your turn. You know, you're behind some people. You got to wait your turn. But when we call on you, do what you need to do. I get the whole thing of I'm cold. It may not work out for me. Excuse me. I'm trying to rebuild my career. This is a 1-year job, but you're always supposed to be ready. You learn that in Little League. You're always supposed to be ready when your number is called, especially if you're trying to prove something. What better way to prove something than to have them call on you at the last minute and you come in a game against the Philadelphia Eagles, the number one team in the NFC at that time that was rolling against the Baltimore Ravens team at home. Right. And you start showing off. Win or lose, if you show off, you win the fans over. The NFL starts looking at you differently. Now at the end of this contract, you have some options where you can go. But you say no. And then you get suspended. One of them other situations where everybody knew something happened, but we just didn't know exactly what it was. Now you want to talk about it? Like, sir, that doesn't make you look better. And you're in Cleveland now. Who's going to throw you the ball, Joe? Right. You're going to be with Shador? Because I believe Shador and Dion got enough sense to be like, you might want to stay away from that guy. That guy's not, he might not have your best interest at heart. So, right. Yeah, fuck you, Deontay Johnson. and like the internet meme goes, like the internet meme does also, bruh.
Like, you know, I think I don't want to say, you know, it is this generation's culture or whatever. I know I'm angry, I'm sports guy, but it is definitely this shows the me mentality. Here you are, you're on your third team in less than a year. And you're not thinking about, hey, what can I do to benefit the team? You're thinking about what can I do to protect myself? I want to get good stuff on film. You already thinking about the next move after this. You already thinking you ain't going to be here. So why are you here? And you're thinking about your future, but you're not thinking about the immediacy of what's going on. And, you know, that's a concern for me. You know, my mom used to say, if you don't have nothing good to say, don't say anything. If you ain't got nothing positive to say about your experience, just shut your mouth. You know, yeah, this did not make you look professional. So what's going to happen in Cleveland when it's snow on the ground and they need you to go in the game for Jerry Jeudy, and you say, nah, yo, it's my legs it's cold out here. My legs are stiff. You sitting on a heated bench. You got heaters right there. And so, because a lot of times, you know, it's not like the fans, Calvin. I've been to a cold game. And, you know, we went up to the Meadowlands last year. You sat through cold games here in Baltimore, M&T, and we went up to the Meadowlands for a cold game last year against the Jets. It was cold. Now, we sitting in the stands. Ain't no heat in the stands, but y'all on the sideline. Y'all got heaters galore. You got a heated bench. You moving around. You moving around. And so what is you talking about? You was cold. You sitting on a heated bench. People helmets is burning on these heated benches. People catching on fire next to these heaters. And you talking about you was cold? So yeah, I'm surprised that someone even signed him. I'm sure if Cleveland heard this interview, if he had did this interview before signing, they probably would have taken a pass. He better hope that Cleveland sticks with him and he makes his team, and maybe he has a good season, because if he gets cut, he done. Ain't nobody going to go and make an investment of millions of dollars in a player who only thinks about himself.
And to go back to the Ravens culture, you literally didn't have to say anything because the Ravens didn't say anything.
Right.
When
Isn't
they
that
were
crazy?
pressed, when they were pressed on it, they were pressed on the suspension. They were like, we've suspended them. Like
Right.
basically, it was a mutual. It was almost like it felt like a mutual decision, and
Right.
we all figured you were suspended because you didn't want to go in the game. Whatever, you know what I mean? It's one of them things where it happens.
Right.
Moving on, everybody doesn't fit. No one had a bad word to say. The Ravens didn't have a bad word to say. No one. Now try that in a place like Dallas, where Jerry Jones will
Oh,
talk about your ass.
right.
He
Right.
will light you up for some shit like that.
Right.
Like I don't understand why you even came out and said anything,
Yeah.
because it didn't make you look good at
Right.
all.
Why you still running your mouth? Why you still running your mouth?
You're
Even when you
Cleveland
were on the
Brown.
Texans last year, they didn't say nothing about you. They went over dap you up after the game. Like, dude, just move. They moved on. You move. And it's crazy. I'm gonna say this about the Ravens. I think this makes them a model, one of the model franchises. Because I even think back to Hollywood Brown. Hollywood comes up to them and says, "Hey, I don't want to be here no more." They could have sent Hollywood Brown to a terrible team. Hey, man, where you want to go? And we're going to send you there. I want to go play with Kyler Murray. Okay. They send him there. Lamar, even in the negotiations, where Lamar, if we can't do this, where you want to go? We'll help you land where you want to land. And so they take care of the players. And yeah, to me, you didn't need to say this. This is something that really should have
Didn't
been
have
left
to say
unsaid.
didn't have to say anything.
You
That's
didn't
the
have to say
beauty.
anything.
That's the beauty of it. You
Yeah.
literally could have just said nothing.
Yeah, because
It's
it's
just
like, I'm happy to be in Cleveland. I'm ready to move on. There
yeah.
you go.
Happy
All
to
right,
be in
man.
Cleveland. Get to face these guys 2 times a season.
Mm-hmm. Our boy Happy Ending didn't get a happy ending on this one, Calvin. Former Ravens kicker Justin Tucker has been suspended 10 games or for the 2025 regular season after NFL found that he violated his personal conduct policy. Excuse me, its personal conduct policy. That was announced on Thursday. He can serve the suspension as a free agent and is free to sign with an NFL team. If he were to sign with the team, he could attend training camp, play in preseason games before the suspension starts on August the 26th. He is eligible for reinstatement on November the 11th, which the NFL provided. And so we love Tuck here. He was great for us while he was here with us and all, won a lot of games. He had a rocky season last year. We lost a lot of faith in him kind of at the beginning when he was missing just about every kick, and then he pulled it together in the midseason, and he was solid through the rest of the season into the playoffs. Hey, man, as far as you're concerned, is Tuck done?
I mean, yeah, and he should be. Now, I am one of those people when guys move on from another team and say, "Oh, I can never play anywhere else." Like Tuck said, I'm always like, "Why not? If you can get a check
Right.
for another team, get that motherfucking check. Like, why wouldn't you want to play somewhere else? We're not gonna forget you if you had an impact." I think one of the reasons why Tuck probably should be done is because right now he's still the NFL kicking leader, all-time leader, in kicking. So why go somewhere and mess with that? You know what I mean? You know you're not. We've talked about this before. You got these young boys out here like that boy in Dallas that are probably going to break his record. Probably going to break that 66
Oh yeah, that
yard
boy's
field
good.
goal record within the next couple of seasons. Why even go out and take the chance to lower your percentage and not be the greatest kicker ever? So you might as well hold on to something. You may still be able to get into the Hall of Fame because character isn't always what they look at Nowadays they may, but if you got Lawrence Taylor and Michael Irvin in there, you should be able to
Right.
get in there as the greatest kicker ever. So yeah, I think he should be done, but we'll see what happens in November when they make that call and offer that check. Justin like, all right, well, let me see what I can do, because that's around the time a lot of kickers either are getting injured. The cold weather is out there. Justin does kick in cold weather, so you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Hey man, I think he's gonna come back like Dirk Diggler did in the movie. You know, I still got it. You know, you still a star. I think he get that call, right team. He's got to prove that he can still do it. It wasn't just the Ravens, and it's me. It's me because the Ravens have a reputation of making great kickers. Outside of Cundiff, they've done a good job of having kickers, and kickers have performed well for them. And I think with Tuck, although he has a Super Bowl and he has the accolades, he has the records. I think right team, right deal, someone that really needs it. I think he's gonna come back like Dirk Diggler. He gonna drop the pants, you know, do the karate joint. Yeah. You a star, baby. He gonna look at that right leg and be like, it's about you. Let's go out here and show him. Just make sure he stay out the massage parlors. It's gotta be very restrictive contract that you cannot go to any massage parlors, you cannot go to any spas.
Be any team that picks him up, be prepared for women's rights groups to protest outside.
Care. So if I can win a Super Bowl, they go away eventually. We've
talked about how the NFL doesn't care about women. Like we've talked
care about that. They'll go away eventually. I'll just make a donation to one of the women's groups. Before you know it, they're gonna be all right. Have them sit up in the box for a game or two. They'll forget all. They'll be cheering Justin in a minute.
Sit out, Justin. Go into the Hall of Fame as the greatest kicker ever. Wait a few years and you'll get a job in somebody's organization. You might be a special teams coach or something like that.
He's coming back like Dirk Diggler. I'm telling you.
Kicking consultant. I think Matt Stover was his kicking consultant.
And it's funny because, you know, Dirk Diggler, he got beat up by the guys when he was in the truck. He tried to... God was like, you freak, they beat him up, they kicked him and everything. That's what the league has done to Justin Tucker. That's what the Ravens did to Justin Tucker. They just kicked him. Get out of here, you freak.
Justin brought that on himself.
I'm telling you, Justin coming back. He's going to be right in the mirror. You are great. You can do great things.
I don't know, man. These young boys coming out with these big legs.
Yeah. But, you know, do you want somebody who's done it? Do you want to see? That's the thing. All right, they got this new kicker. All right, I be reading the little reports from training camp. He didn't miss. He hit 3 out of 6. I'm getting a little nervous now. Look, when we up in Pittsburgh and it's December and we need this dude, he's kicking into the open end of Old Heinz Field. Are you gonna feel confident this dude gonna win that game? Or when we need the 66-yarder, are you confident this dude gonna step out and hit it? That's what I'm saying. We've been spoiled, Calvin. We've been spoiled because we had a dude. When Justin came up to kick them, I go to the bathroom, man. We got it. I'm gone. You know, this last season I had to kind of sit there like, all right, let's see. But he gave us consistent.
Even on extra points when Justin came out.
Like but yeah, so you know, we'll see. But I mean, I think he gets the opportunity. He's got to do it because he got to show that he still got the pipes. I still got the pipes. You know, he got to be like, oh, Eddie Kane.
That's what someone offers him. I think someone will reach out to him in November. December, a team that's in the playoff run. He may fuck around and find the team in the playoff run, and
he gonna be like, yeah.
They're gonna be playing against Baltimore, and he gonna go up to the new kicker and be like, how does it feel to be? I see what you're doing. That's what he said. That's what he said.
Yeah,
I see what you're doing.
Right. I'm the one out here kicking,
trying to replace me. And then go up to the new kick and be like, you ain't gonna get it. B.I.G. ain't got it. Yeah.
Yeah, my man. Anyway, man.
Lamar and all that. Kyle gonna be like, "Here, man, take some money."
Right.
Oh no, give me your number. Man, do I look like I got a number?
Right. Let me give me your number. I look like I got a nice like this. I wish.
No, he ain't gonna be singing that. This is what he gonna be singing. He gonna be like, oh.
Oh,
walking away with his all-star jersey,
right.
with his all-star jersey under his coat. Yeah, leave Justin alone, yo.
With a towel around his waist. Oh. Hey man, the Ravens signed. They added two-time Pro Bowl cornerback Jair Alexander to his defensive backfield last week. The 5'10", 196-pound cornerback was limited to just 7 games last season, but made an impact nonetheless. He logged 7 passes defended and a pair of interceptions. This is a great addition to the Ravens. They're Trump tight in the back. Was this the Ravens' best signing in the offseason, Calvin?
Not including rookies. Are we saying just
yeah, I mean rookies, they get drafted. I mean, they signed DeAndre Hopkins and Jair, and they got a couple other people, offensive linemen, they got a linebacker and all.
They got Cheedy and
so
probably pound for pound, yes. And it's also a good signing for the same reason that Hopkins is a good signing, which is you want him as a starter, but you don't need him as a starter, which is an amazing thing. And you know what? Let's back up. It is the best signing of the offseason because he signed for $6 million.
Yeah, they got him for a good price.
This is one of those players that wanted to play for you. So he apparently he turned down other offers with bigger money. It's only a 1-year deal, so no one is locked in. It's a good deal for him. It's a great deal for the team. I think it's a great deal. And they talk about his injuries a lot, but I heard on a podcast, which is so true, he can be injured. The Ravens have enough to get you to the playoffs. If he can stay healthy throughout a playoff run, then that's really, really all you need. That's not all you want. You want more, but that's really all you're looking for these guys to be healthy through this playoff run and help your core team. Now, who's to say that after this 1 year he won't sign a long-term deal? You never know, but he'll probably be offered so much money if he plays well with other teams that he won't. But a guy like Jair, a guy like DeAndre, if these guys can come in through a playoff run and just contribute, just add to what the core team already has, I mean, you're looking at a perennial champion. I do think it's with the money, with him wanting to play with the team, with Lamar wanting him, the depth that it gives us, the probable starter, but doesn't have to necessarily be a starter. Yeah, best signing in the offseason. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree. This is a typical Raven veteran signing. You got young players who can play. You bring in a veteran who kind of gives you that veteran presence and experience. You don't have to play him 100% of the snaps. And that way he can be ready by the time you get late into the season, playoffs, he's ready to go. It reminds me of Clowney. It reminds me of the current sack leader with the Ravens. Oh my God, why I want to forget his name? Van Noy. Van Noy. When they had him, Justin Houston. I think the only reason why they didn't have a bigger impact out of Justin Houston, he would start off the season great, excuse me, but then he would kind of fade towards the end of the season because he had to play a high amount of snaps.
He had to play so much.
He had
Yeah.
to play so much. If they were just using him on third downs or in certain pass situations, I think he would have had much more of an impact across the entire season as opposed to when he was first starting the season and then as opposed to going later in the season. And so I think this is great because, like you said, they do have cornerbacks. They do have a good back end. They drafted Starks. Wiggins is probably going to have a great second season. You already had TJ Tampa there. You had a couple other people there in the mix. They're 2 years in the system. And so, yeah, I think it's great.
And Jay is 28. I mean, he's
Yeah.
a veteran, but he's 28 years
He's
old.
young.
So, he's definitely not past his prime at
Right.
all.
He's young. And so, hey, he's got to get his money up for next year. He comes out and he shows out here. It sets him up for a bigger contract, if not here, somewhere else. And so, good pickup by the Ravens. All right, man, let's transition to some basketball real quick, and then we're going to close out with some Come On Yo. And so, NBA Finals, congratulations to the OKC Thunder as they beat the Indiana Pacers 4-3 to win the league championship. I think we both picked OKC to win the championship. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he was named Finals MVP as he led the Thunder in scoring with 30.3 points per game in the Finals. Tough luck for Tyrese Halliburton, who tore his Achilles tendon in the final game. He had been playing well, but had come into the game, the series injured, having some problems with his hamstring, and he decided to play through it. But then he was cooking in the first quarter, but then tore his Achilles tendon, kind of similar to what happened with Dame Dillard and what happened with Jalen. I'm sorry. I was going to say Jalen Brown. Jason Tatum. And I'm trying to think, was there one more person that tore that Achilles in the playoffs? I don't think so, but those two at least.
Think didn't someone on Cleveland didn't think someone.
No, I don't think so. Maybe someone in the Cavaliers.
I think
they might have. They might have. And so, hey man, is this the newest dynasty in the NBA? OKC. I mean, they're young. They can play any style that you want to play. They have great offensive player in SGA. He has great support in terms of Jalen Williams. He's got big boy there. Oh my God, why do I want to forget the big white guy? But anyway, nonetheless, I'm getting old. And so, man, what you think about this as the new dynasty?
It's potentially the new dynasty, but remember the West is a rough sledding out there. It's rough sledding out there in the West. Now, if they were in the East, absolutely. But it's rough sledding out there in the West. But they have all the pieces. The youth part of it is probably the most inviting piece of it. Of course, that along with the first round picks that they still have in the coming years, everybody is already marking them off. But you just can't take away from teams like Denver. You can't take away from Ant's desire to be greater. I've moved Memphis out of there. We thought John Morant was going to do something, but he proven he can't.
Right.
Just can't stay on the straight and narrow. But Phoenix is left out. You do have a Houston team that just picked up KD. So they may be perennial. Well, they were in the playoffs, so they're going to.
Yeah, they were the number 2 seed.
Yeah, they're going to get stronger this year. So, it's basketball is so hard to say, but I think they have the potential to be a dynasty. Now, what are we considering a dynasty? Do we consider a dynasty back in the day with the Bulls, the Pistons, and the Lakers were doing, or are we moving them up to a dynasty where Golden State was just a great team, and they did win? I think Golden State has 3 ships, but they didn't win all 3 in a row, but they were always there. They were always in the finals. So is that how we're considering the dynasty, or what are we?
Golden State. Let's see. They have
because Golden State is definitely a dynasty.
Yeah,
definitely
they beat Cleveland twice. And they
lost to Cleveland once also.
They lost to Cleveland once. They lost to Toronto, and they beat the Celtics. So, yeah, they have 3. So they've been to 5 championships. They really should have 4 if Draymond doesn't get suspended in the middle of the second one for kicking LeBron
They
in
were
the
up
nuts.
3-1. That's not all on
Yeah,
Draymond.
it shifted momentum. It did. He was suspended a game, and
I
then
agree.
yeah,
I
it
agree,
shifted. It
but
shifted
they were
momentum.
still up 3-1.
It was Draymond's fault.
They got to stop putting
It was
that all on
Draymond. It was
Draymond.
Draymond's fault.
They
It was
gotta-
Draymond's fault. It was Draymond. If he does not get suspended that game, they go ahead and close it out. Cleveland
I
won, and it gave them
I
life.
agree. I agree that Draymond's suspension was a huge factor, but they were
Yeah.
up 3-1.
Come on.
3-1.
Draymond. Anyway,
3-1.
and I was talking about Chet Holmgren. That's what I meant by
Chet.
big Chet Holmgren. But anyway, I think, of course, we can't set them on the level of the Bulls or the Lakers or the Celtics because they haven't done it over a number of years. But I think in terms of growing, I do like the I like the Golden State comparison in terms of young team, young talent growing together. That was a tough West too when Golden State was doing it, and so I see them in that sense. Also, maybe in not quite the Miami sense. Miami had a short run, but Miami was a super team. And so
Miami
Golden
was
State,
put together.
yeah, Miami was put together. OKC, they also more similar to Golden State because these players were drafted. Really, the only big free agent, if you even want to call him a big free agent, was Caruso. And he validated my point, Calvin. If you're not seeing the interview where he said that the bubble championship was not real, he said, "Now I got a real ring." This is the guy that was in the bubble. So I hope you heard that. He says, "Now I have
First
a
of
real
all,
ring."
Caruso is a well-known trumper, so we don't listen to those
Is he
lies
a
anymore.
trumper?
I don't know,
He's
but
not a trumper.
I don't know. I'm just making an excuse for why you would discount the most difficult ring to ever win in the NBA, the bubble ring.
He said it. He said that it didn't count. He
Fuck
said
Caruso and his
he got a
receding ass
real
headline.
he got a real ring. So yeah, I think they're in that mode. And so the West is going to get tougher. Durant, he goes to Houston in the deal that sends Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks in the number 10 pick, which was the young center out of Duke, to Phoenix, and 5 second rounders. They have, veteran presence. They already have Fred VanVleet there. They had Steven Adams. They had a couple other good young players there. One of the Thompson twins is there. And so they got a good team. Definitely this is going to compete with OKC next year. But OKC, they seem like they're up for the battle. And so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think this is the start. Let's see what happens next year. But I like them because they're grown organically like a Golden State, where you have young stars who are going to be together for the next several years. They have good opportunity. And then as they get older, and they got the draft picks as well, which is crazy.
Draft picks.
They got a lot of draft picks. If they want to add a veteran piece here, they're first round draft picks at that. So if they want to add a veteran piece here, there, they got some trade assets that they can use. They have other teams' picks where it's going to be based on how these teams are performing. Some of these picks, of course, are top 5 protected, but if they're still in the top 10 and you got a very good class, there's an opportunity for you to get another good player. And so I think they're set up to become a dynasty over the next couple of years.
And along with that, so this is where that NIL also comes into play. So you're not necessarily going to be getting these guys that are one and done. You may start getting guys that actually have those college legs, that are getting that experience, that competition experience, that when they get to the NBA, their craft just needs to be honed a little more. They don't really have to start from the ground bottom up and work their way up. Question. Yeah. Now, the championship set aside, because the championship puts them above any other OKC team that's been out. But all in all, does this team beat the finals team of Durant, Harden, and Westbrook?
Ooh. And don't forget Big Kendrick on that night. Kendrick wasn't doing nothing.
According to Kendrick, he was the man. Perk was it.
Big Perk. Ooh. Yes. because
So
Russell Westbrook can't shoot. And OKC has at least three shooters in Holmgren, Williams, and SGA. And so I think SGA is a great scorer that could balance out the impact of a Durant. I like the defensive presence that that Westbrook gave you, but as we learned, people start laying off of Westbrook to force him to shoot that jumper, and he's a clanger. He's gonna build a house. And Harden was nice. Of course, came into his own after he left there to go to
he was the
Houston.
sixth man. He was the
Yeah,
sixth
he was
man.
that sixth man, and so I think this is a good this squad. They're just so versatile. I think that's why I would say they could be the first championship team that they had in the championship, because I think they're more versatile. They get points from different areas. Defensively, they're very good, and SGA is just the master of the mid game.
Nah, they're not beating them.
What?
Kevin Durant is a generational talent. Now remember, you're looking at what Russell Westbrook after he leaves OKC.
Yeah, I mean he couldn't shoot then. We just
Couldn't
weren't
shoot
paying
them,
attention.
but the boy
Right.
was a monster. Kevin
He
Durant
was.
was a monster. The reason Harden left is because he was a monster, wasn't getting in the starting lineup. No, sir. They're not beating that
Okay.
team. They're
Well,
not beating that team.
we got to
I
get it
like
on
Shea
NBA 2K and play
and
both
see
teams and see what happens.
I like Shea, but I think Shea's defense. Well, actually,
He's
Shea's
not a
pretty.
good defensive
Yeah,
player. He
you
ain't
know,
knocking nobody down.
and Kevin Durant is an offensive and defensive player. Like he's a generational talent. He makes that team go. You get
Kevin Durant plays defense.
he played defense. Kevin Durant, yeah. Kevin Durant isn't a terrible defensive player. Are you looking at Kevin Durant now? See, I'm back.
No, I'm thinking about peak Kevin Durant when he was with the Dubs, when he was Dub Nation, when he was with Golden State. He wasn't necessarily stopping nobody.
He ain't had to stop nobody in Golden State. I'm talking about a young
Oh, you're talking
OKC
about
Kevin
OKC?
Durant.
Yeah, he was okay.
Young OKC Kevin Durant.
I mean, let's not forget,
That
our boy Klay
extreme.
Thompson. He put them 8 threes on them in that playoff game, and they were full strength, and they had everybody on that team,
Yeah,
and they couldn't do nothing with them.
but Klay Thompson and Steph a matchup. That's another historic. That's a historic combination. Oh, this OKC team doesn't have that historic combination. Now,
Okay.
let me say this:
Okay.
if Tyrese Halliburton does not get hurt,
Mm-hmm.
I think the Pacers might be the champions.
Oh
now.
no.
I think the Pacers might be the
No,
champions.
no. It's
I
gonna be
think the
close.
Pacers
Now
might
I
be
would
the
have I would say this. If he would have played, it would have came down to the last couple minutes. Definitely. They would have been closer. But no, I think OKC, they just now I will say this towards the end of the game, OKC's butt, they got a little tight. They start missing. They start missing a lot of shots. They start missing a lot of shots towards the end. And so that's why I say it would have been tighter if Halliburton was there, because he does his magic in the last 5 minutes.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Nah, I'm just saying. And that's not to say that Halliburton is a great player, because I don't think he's a great player. I think he's great.
I think he's
great in their system. I think he's great in their system.
Okay.
And I think he's a very good player. And when I say great player, I don't look at him as I don't think he's better than Shea. He's not a generational player, but he's great in their system, and he's a very good player. Which takes me to exactly what I'm saying. I think if he's in that game, he wills them to a championship. Because the OKC should have knocked them out, and they didn't, because they hung around. They let them hang around. It's that first loss, that comeback win that once that happened, you could see the Pacers. It was almost like they got new legs. They got new life. They were like, yeah, we can do this. I think they would have done it. I think they would have done it.
Well, hey, shoulda, woulda, coulda. All right, man. We at the part of the show that everybody loves. Come on, yo. And so I'll start off. We were talking about these injuries lately, these Achilles injuries, and we're talking about Deontay Johnson and him just thinking about himself. And it's just led me to think about something, Calvin. And I think we've talked about this before, but come on, yo. Maybe we're playing too much. Maybe the game is not fun anymore. There was an article that's just came out in, I think it's the New Yorker, where guys talking about how now basketball is a money sport. You got to have money to play in the top leagues, in the travel games, in the travel leagues, and how now we have such a specialization in sports that younger players are burning out or getting injured earlier in their careers as opposed to later. I remember growing up, we played every sport within its season. And so I don't I had some friends that were great basketball players, but they also played baseball in the spring and part in the summer. They played football in the fall. They played basketball in the winter. We went in terms of the season of sports, but now you don't necessarily have people that are playing multiple sports across a season anymore. A lot of times when we're identifying these kids, if they like baseball, that's all they're playing for the rest of their lives is baseball. We get them a trainer, they're getting all these swings, they're getting all this work. And by the time that they're teenagers, a lot of times they're burnt out going into college systems or even professional ball. And I think that will have a lot to address the issues and the focus and the desire to want to play, because I think we've worn out the desire of wanting to play because we're trying to make our kids into millionaires or billionaires. Everybody's not Joe Jackson out here. Everybody is not the Williams
Look
sisters'
on
father.
Mall.
Yeah. Everybody is not going to be able to have a successful child in a particular. Everybody's not Tiger Woods' daddy. And so I think we have to learn how to get some balance. I know when my girls played sports, I didn't necessarily think they were going to be professional, and I don't think there's a lot of professional opportunities for women, although they're developing now over the last several years. I let them choose when they wanted to play. And I think that encouraged them to do it. And so they would often come to me, hey, daddy, you going to sign me up for, I want to play soccer this year, or I want to do this year. And I based it on their interests, not that, you doing this and, now I got you a trainer. I was listening to Bomani the other day. He was saying that he thinks a lot of the people are getting injured because they're doing so much training in the off season. Back in the day of the players from the 60s and the 70s, those guys had jobs in the off season. So they were not necessarily playing basketball all year round. They went and worked at the for the insurance company, or they were salesmen or doing whatever. And so their bodies were able to get a break and then came back in. And so I think with all the technology and medicine is much better, um, I think the balance now has to be: are we putting too much on younger bodies at a younger age, and then eventually they break down later? So, come on, yo, maybe we need to find more balance in the playing structure.
Yeah. So, basketball has always been called a black sport, even though it didn't
Right,
start that way. But one of the
it's the city
reasons,
game.
it's a city game. All you need is a ball and one person. You
Right.
don't even really need a goal. We put up crates. We've
Come
just
on,
had a
man.
block up there and hit it. So you couldn't
Hmm.
do that with baseball. You can't do that with football. I mean, we did see Lamar throw and catch his pass one time, but
Right.
you can't do that in football.
Right.
But but now you're right. So now these kids are starting to be priced out of the game. If you're starting to look, there's such an influx now of former player kids that are starting to play now. And
Definitely.
why? Because they have the resources being the money, but also the connections. They join up on these teams, these IMG type teams. You're
Yeah,
starting to
got
see
these
that a
academies
lot
now.
more now. Yeah, you're starting to see that a lot more now. And it's starting to price out the normal inner city
Mm-hmm.
kid. And what used to happen was I'll look at like a Warren Dixon and Calvert Hall. What used
Mm-hmm.
to happen was even a Carmelo, these schools used to grab these kids and give them the scholarships to come
Sure.
play with them, where there was no more zone restrictions of, you had to go to
Mm-hmm.
your zone school and this and that. So that still happens slightly, but now the schools don't have to do it that much because they don't have to look far to find the talent, because those with the resources are putting their kids in these programs. And like you said, all year round they're able to do it. And a lot of these inner city kids are getting priced out of the market. They don't have the resources to be there. You almost have to be exceptional and in the right place at the right time for someone to see you. Playing for a normal zone school nowadays doesn't
Doesn't
necessarily get
exist.
you the exposure.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get you where you need to go in college if your goal is to be an athlete, to be a basketball player. So
Mm-hmm.
come on, yo, I'm with you on that one.
Thank you, bro.
My come on, yo, and I am not the hip hop guru of the podcast. My guy Garland is.
Yeah, I did not plan
However,
this.
however, you gonna catch these jokes, and I am the bullshit guru. My come on, yo, is for Jim Jones. Jim Jones. First of all, it's crazy how we ended with the NBA championship, because Jim Jones' claim to fame is balling. But right now, sir, it looks like you're falling. What the hell is going on with Jim Jones? I can't. First of all, you talk about how you started with you're better than Nas. Get the fuck you. I'll challenge anybody's catalog to my catalog. Nas, he must have met Pros. He had to mean Pros.
Yeah, maybe you met Praz.
He met Pros, because there's no way he
Yeah.
was talking about Nas.
It's his New York accent. We thought he said Nas, but he said
Pros.
Praz. Okay.
Because to my only thing I ever like by Pros is, oh, you can tell by the way I move my
Right.
So I mean, I know Pros has some songs. So Jim, Pros, how dare you think you better than Jim Jones?
Right.
I know Jim Jones wasn't talking about Nas.
Dance around the ring like I'm Cassius Clay. that's Praz's most famous one.
But then Jim Jones comes back and doubles down and says, I did Nas a favor. This is the most he's been viral in his life. I know he won a Grammy Award, but that don't really mean nothing. he won a Grammy Award, but that don't mean nothing. He had probably one of the biggest hip hop hits with Lauryn Hill, If I Ruled the World, but that don't mean nothing. Like,
Right.
none of that means anything.
A classic top 5 album.
Well, I will say Jim Jones did say since Illmatic. He did give him his props on Illmatic.
He's had at least 3 hit albums since Illmatic.
Absolutely. His Grammy was for shit. Anyway, his Grammy was for Illmatic. It was for God's Son. It was for God's Son.
Stillmatic, and
it was for God's Son.
God's Son. Okay, yeah.
I mean, not to mention Ether. But I'm gonna let Jim Jones cook.
Jay-Z. Yeah,
I'm gonna let Jim Jones cook. Jim Jones said that. But then what did Nas do? Nas comes out and takes this, doesn't say a word, takes all this and puts his name out there again, because Nas just opens up a casino in New York. Jim Jones, what are you doing, sir? What are you doing, sir? The commercials for Nas's casino dropped this week. Like, it is like Nas is pretty much probably like, thank you, Jim. Thanks for bringing my name back out there. Because it's not like I did Belly. It's not like every woman out here wants me. It's not, none of that. None of that is true. None of that is true. But let's first of all, come on, Jim, for the Nas thing. But then Shannon Sharp rips you apart in the interview, which is one thing. You know what I mean? You can let that slide. But then you are going to go out and work out and say, Shannon, you've been working out. This is what we do. I'm doing this to get ready in case the Marines call me to go to war. Can you do this? Shannon Sharp is a NFL Hall of Fame type end that still looks like he could go out there and play the game. Has I think he got 2 Super Bowls with Denver. He's a 3-time champion, 2 with Denver, 1 with Baltimore. Yeah. And you are trying to challenge him to an exercise contest? Are you fucking kidding me? The only thing he said that may be true, which I still don't think is, because if you look at Shannon's upper body, bruh, can you lift your own weight? He's heavier than Jim. But Jim, that's because your legs look like goddamn chicken bones. After the meat, the buffalo wing chicken bones, not even the real chicken bones. Then your shoes are too goddamn big on your feet. You lifting up, look like your shoes gonna fall off. You look like you wearing your daddy's clothes or Chrissy's clothes. He probably wearing Chrissy's clothes. Jim, come on, Jim Jones. What the fuck is wrong with you? And cut your hair. Sir, aren't you almost 60 years old? Jim Jones. Come on, yo. Come on, yo.
Did he marry Chrissy?
No. They're still not married.
She proposed. She got down on her knees.
On Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah, she need to get that mole off her face messing with Jim. You need to get somebody that can pay to get that mole off your face.
I ain't saying nothing bad about Chrissy, because Chrissy about that life. No, Chrissy will fight you.
Chrissy might show up.
But come on, Jim Jones. What the fuck is wrong with you, sir? Yeah. Like, it literally has to be a prank that he's playing that he ain't let us all in yet. At one time, he gonna go on TV and Ashton Kutcher gonna come out and just, tell everybody they've been punked. Because there's no way Jim Jones believes any of this shit that he's saying.
When his mother and Frankie mother, are they best friends? Remember Frankie? Frankie, Keisha Cole's mother?
Yeah. Didn't Frankie pass away?
No. Oh Lord Jesus. Let me not talk about the day.
I could be wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong. I know Jim Jones' mother was recently on TV dancing and freaking off at some party and stuff, like last week or something.
Right.
Like, and
yeah, she did pass away. She passed away in 2021. Accidental drug overdose. So we won't talk about Frankie.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Jim Jones' mother either. I don't want to talk about nobody's mom.
I ain't talking about nobody's mother. We leave him alone. My mom's not here. God bless.
And then we'll need to talk about anybody's mom, because Jim Jones, you're clown enough for everybody.
Right.
Come on, Jim. Come on, Jim. Oh, man.
Anyway, yeah, man, we got another one in the books, y'all. Hopefully this will hold you for the next couple of weeks, because we're about to disappear.
And by the way, we've been wanting to talk about The Chi, but if you've been watching The Chi, that shit is so horrible that it's just not even.
I saw one of our super fans, Miss Sheila. Her daughter had a 50th birthday party. I went to. Shout out to Jakira on her 50th birthday party. And mom had
Jakira.
Had a birthday brunch for her, and Paula and I went. And she's like, "When y'all gonna do The Chi?" I was like, "Miss Sheila, The Chi is trash. It's horrible." That's not that bad. Yes, Miss Sheila, it's
really bad.
It's really
the last episode. If you watch the last episode, remember I said earlier they were trying to be like Spike Lee.
Right. Do the right thing.
Definitely a do the right thing type episode. I just I can't with Lena.
Yeah, if they were going to bring what's his face back, Reggie, they could have brought back Triggs' girlfriend from how come they bring her back?
Yeah. Well, I think that personally, and here we said we weren't going to talk about The Chi, but I personally think that Luke James was like, listen, no more transvestites. I need some real women.
Right. No more transvestites. You said transvestite. It's
transgender.
Transgender.
Transvestite is so old. That was back. was
Brother
so
said transvestite.
That is
About
like
Rocky Horror
70s,
Picture Show or something.
that is 70s and 80s lingo right there. Transvestite. My bad. My bad. I'm sorry. No more trans. Luke James said no more transgenders. No more trans. He wanted to possibly looks like he's gonna have a love interest with
no more
what's her
non-binary.
face.
No more non-binaries.
Hey man, another good episode. Let me get out of here before we start getting some letters and shit. Hey, remember you can catch us live on YouTube right now.
Definitely.
We are on all the podcast platforms, and if you do have Spotify, you can see my offensive ass and Garland's sensitive ass on the Spotify screen.
I'm still angry.
Hey man, we appreciate you all joining us. Won't see you for a couple weeks. Garland's going on vacation.
You have been listening to the B.I.G. Show.
Go Orioles.
The show was produced
Garland
and written by
making the
Calvin
playoffs.
Coates
I'm going on
and
record
Garland
right
Thomas
now.
for All Things Black
They are turning it
Productions.
around. Yesterday
Follow
was
us
the
on
half
all
point
of
the
your
season. They're
podcast
turning it
media
around. They're going to the
platforms.
playoffs.
They turning it around. Get out the way for the playoff teams. That's what they doing.
Later, man.
Peace, man. Have a good day.